Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, Built on the Rock Recovery. Today we are going to be talking about faith versus fear. And then I'm going to be asking you a question at the end. Which one are you going to choose when you're making your daily life decisions? Speaking from my own life, I have a huge decision I'm about to make. And it's requiring me to ask the question, am I going to choose faith? Or am I going to let this decision be governed by fear? You guys, I will admit it, I have lived a very fear-based life. When you go through a lot of things like I have, when you've lived a lot of trauma, when you've had disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, you can start to live with the mindset that you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I admit, in many ways, that I have that mindset. The pessimist mindset, the mindset that's just waiting for things to fail because so many things already have. But that is not the life that He wants for us. We can either choose to live the safe, secure, less risky road. But in my humble opinion, all the best gains in my life have come from risky circumstances where I had to step out of my own fear and step in to faith. And now I'm asking you, do you live a life of faith, or do you live a life of fear? When you're making a decision, where is the decision coming from? Is it from the logistics in your mind? Or is it coming from your heart? I was listening to a fantastic 2-minute spiel from one of my favorite life coaches ever, Mel Robbins. She totally inspires me. Like, she is a template for the kind of person and coach that I want to be. She's very straightforward, very real, oftentimes just comes on camera, no makeup, just woke up, and then she's doing her message. I love that. I'm so inspired by that. In this day and age where everything is about how you look and how you present yourself, and so many YouTubers are just like slapping on layers and layers and layers of makeup, isn't it nice to get someone who's willing to take the mask off? The mask of makeup, the mask of lies, the mask of BS. That's the kind of person I aim to do. That's what I've been doing in this channel the whole way through. Just giving you real talk from a real frame of mind in real life circumstances. Yes, we don't have the same problems. If you're early in recovery, an addict early in recovery, we don't have the same problems. And you might even look at my problems and be like, why is she complaining? She's got the sweetest life ever. And that might be true. But I'm still going through the tough decisions. I'm still wrestling with life right now. We're right before Christmas time in 2020 in the pandemic. And there's a lot of heavy stuff happening right now, including this gigantic decision I have in front of me, which is, am I going to buy property in the middle of a pandemic when I'm surrounded by unknowns? It's a big risk. Cards on the table, it's a big risk I'm taking, and I'm fully aware of it. And while I have my parents' support, there's also the question, have you considered this? And I have. I'm really good at turning a problem on all sides and just analyzing it to death. It's exhausting, but it's actually a great trait because I'm really good at weighing out pros and cons and seeing future consequence. Weighing out the future consequence of the decision, and most importantly, and the bigger the decision is, can I handle the fallout if this goes badly? And the answer is always yes. Do you want to know why? Because I live by faith instead of fear. He's already shown me on many, many, many circumstances. He's got my back. And I know that he will do it again. Do you want to know why? Because he's our fortress, he's our rock, he's our protector, he's our provider, he's our rescuer. He's our vindicator, he is our comfort, he is our joy. Over the past 2 nights, I've been really wrestling over this decision, and you want to know what's helped me to feel better? Which is actually a very cool story. 2 nights back to back, he brought me to 2 different chapters in my little Joyce Meyer Everyday Life book. Highly recommend. But I always highly recommend scripture. Because here's the deal. When we're just trying to figure out big issues in our head, it's a losing battle, man. Frankly, I'm not smart enough to run my own life. Every time I've tried to run my own life without God's help, I've hit 10 different rock bottoms. Everything I do now has to rely on him, and every single answer to every single issue is in here. It's in his living word. So I want to encourage you on any big thing that you're wrestling with. If you need something that's going to help you to feel better, because you know what that's like. The wrestling match of the mind, the battlefield of the mind, it's a real thing. Like, there's spiritual warfare happening, whether you want to believe it or not. It's a thing, it's real, it's happening. So how do you fight spiritual warfare? By speaking God's truth. Now, the first night I was led to Psalm 62. The next night I was led to Psalm 44. You know what's cool about both of these? They say the exact same thing, pages and pages and pages apart from each other. They say the exact same thing, and what God is famous for is when he wants to make a point, he repeats himself. There's certain parts in here where he repeats himself over and over and over again. Why? Because he knows we're kind of slow on the uptake sometimes. We're fallible, we're doubters, he knew repetition is the way to get the message into our minds. So I'm just going to read you a short little blurb, and then I'm going to close us out with the Serenity Prayer. For God alone my soul waits. In silence and quietly submits to him. For my only hope is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. My fortress and my defense. I will not be shaken or discouraged. He is my rock of unyielding strength. My refuge is in God. Trust confidently in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. You guys, even if this decision goes sideways, I know he's going to have my back. Why? He's just said it. He's our refuge. He's our protector. He is our rescuer. I have example after example in my own life about how he has never let me fall. Yes, he's brought me to disaster, but he's always brought me through. Now I want you to think about a time in your life where you faced disaster, but you came out clean. You came out safe. You came out alive when you should have been dead. Addicts in recovery know a lot about life-threatening circumstances. But if you're watching this, it means that you made it through. And how do you think you did that? You think that was on your own will? You think that was on your own understanding? I would challenge you otherwise. Nothing in life is an accident. Nothing is a mistake. Nothing is a coincidence. Exactly where you are now is exactly where you're meant to be. So are you going to choose to live by fear, or are you going to live by faith? And here is my personal declaration. I choose to live by faith. And going forward in 2021, it is a year of expansion. And it's going to be a year of leaning on my faith. And I hope that you have these same great opportunities too. I want you to know I believe in you. And I'm going to close out with the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I love you guys. Next week will be a special Christmas edition, and I so look forward to seeing you then. Love you. Take care.